Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's intraday analysis video, brought to you by the creators of proprietary price, pattern, and time methodology. Learn the PPT strategies and profit for life. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. All right, into the action we go today on this Thursday, April 17th, 2014. This is the last trading day of the week, as tomorrow is a holiday. A 3-day weekend approaches, and the markets are doing exactly what you would think they would do prior to a holiday. Volume is very light and getting lighter here. It's about 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and the markets are neutral to positive. So right now the SPY is up 20 cents, S&P's up 1.7 points, Dow is down 8 points, Nasdaq up 11. Why is the Dow down? One word for you, actually 3 words: international business machines. Right here. And that's the main reason. Down $6.50 on the back of earnings from yesterday after the close, and that alone is probably about 30 points of the Dow, maybe even more. So if you take that out, then the Dow actually would be up about 20 points, right in line with the rest of the market. Now, we did have some negative earnings from other companies out there, Google being one of them. Although Google, again, has bounced back. It's off its aftermarket lows, I should say. Yesterday, after the bell, it traded as low as around the 520 marker. Now it's trading around 535. You could see it even gapped up today, or at least was up higher than it currently is, before selling off throughout the course of the day. Now it's just going sideways. But that's not affecting the Nasdaq very much, because there are other stocks in the Nasdaq that are having a very good day today. SanDisk is one of them, after some good numbers there. And again, SanDisk up $7.75. Beautiful move there. We're also seeing other stocks like the biotechs perform very well. If you look at the IBB, which I am holding on the long side, IBB up another $1.80 today. My entry price given to members in the research center was about $211. So we're basically 13, 14 bucks on this right now, and I think it's going higher. I think the bounce here will ultimately take you to about 235, 240, and there should be some great profits to be had. Another stock that I have on the long side with members that we picked up lower just a few days ago, Netflix. Netflix is up about $9.60. Where did we buy it? Right down here, folks. All right, this was your key level, and look at that move. We're essentially up at this stage about $22 on this trade. Not quite 10% yet, but we should easily get 10% out of it. Okay? So that's what we'll see here. And again, focus on markets again, floating neutral-ish. I do think towards the end of the day, you might see a little bit of profit taking. There could just be a little bit of profit taking here. But right now, again, the markets are neutral to positive if we flip back to the SPY. So what are we looking at next week? I mean, let's talk plainly here. With the markets neutral to positive after a 3-day rally, are we looking for a bounce in the markets continuing next week or selling? I think, assuming nothing crazy happens over the 3-day weekend. And listen, anytime you have a 3-day weekend, there's always a risk, right? Especially with what's going on with Russia and the Ukraine. Anytime there's something like that, there could be a big event, maybe an invasion from Russia, in which case the markets would take a big hit on Monday. But assuming nothing like that happens, then I look for a little bit more upside. That's what I'm expecting. I think there's a little bit more upside in this market before the next sell side comes in. Okay, and basically what I'm looking at, I have my couple longs out there that are nicely in the money. If we can get a little bit more out of it early next week, then I'm going to take those off the table, and I'll start rotating into shorts again. Okay, and again, been another very profitable week for members here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. We took some shorts off early in the week, and like IWM, I made about 5% on my IWM short, which is the Russell 2000. And after that, when the markets were at their lows, we started buying stocks, and we've made money on the upside. And that's what we've done all year long. And if you want to see our track record, folks, I encourage you to go to the In The Money Stocks website. It's open to everyone. And all you have to do is click on Free Market Action, which is the tab on the far right of the homepage. And go down, 3 down is the Research Center track record. If you click on that, you can see all of our trades that we took in 2014 right there, including if you go back on the drop down, you can look at 2013, 2012, and you can see our performance. And these are timestamp trades. They give you everything you need to know to see how our performance has been. So right now, this current year, we're up 152%, 0.68. And even again, as I said yesterday and the day before, even if you just put 10% in any trade, you're still up over 15% for the year. And compare that to what the average person's doing right now, probably about flat on the year, maybe even down if they were holding some Nasdaq or some technology stuff that's been hit lately. They're probably down, and our members again are reaping the big rewards, big rewards. Okay, a couple other things to go over here on the charts. I wanted to go over the I. Let's take a look at the Qs actually. Let's go to the Nasdaq and the Qs. The Qs of the Nasdaq 100. If we go to the daily chart here, beautiful little level right here. So never hits the 200, but look at this double bottom. And look at the sell-off off the highs. So this was a nice sell-off back in January, but this was a bigger one because it still went to the same lows, actually made a lower low right there. But look at how much higher we were. So this is a big drop, and that's why this bounce actually should get us at least back to the 20. That's why I'm expecting a little bit more upside early in the week next week. And again, if we get that, that should give us an opportunity to take our Netflix off the table, our IBB off the table, and a couple other positions off the table. And then we're going to start shorting again, as I said, once the markets tell us it's time to short. Right? Remember, always let the markets tell you. Never try to tell the markets. It ultimately will be a losing battle. All right, a couple other stocks that I'm keeping an eye on. 3D Systems is down a little bit, but I have to say this stock is very close to major support. What I like about this stock, right, if you take this trend line from this little pivot and draw it across here, you can actually see that there's actually some good support here. So this might actually be a short-term bottom on the DDD, and I actually think this could have a big bounce, maybe back to about the $54 level, which is the 20 MA on the daily chart. Look at that sell-off, by the way. And listen, by no means do I think these things have bottomed out for the long term, but everything has a bounce. And if you look at the recent price action, I mean, even from you had this big fall here, and then this big bounce, and then this fall from 80 and change down to about the 45 level here. That's a big fall. Just on a technical basis, you should have like a dead cat bounce type thing. And that's what I'm kind of expecting on DDD. So that's one I'm watching very closely. I think you might be able to get some gains out of that. Let me see what else we have. VJET had a big move yesterday. Let's see how VJET's doing today. VJET, type that in correctly. There we go. Yeah, VJET's down a little bit today, but that had like a 10% move yesterday. So a big bounce yesterday. And now what you want to watch on VJET is, did it put in a little low? See how it bounced back to the gap window right there? Now if it starts to make bullish consolidation on a sideways pattern, you start looking for a breakup. Needs a couple more days to consolidate into next week. And then again, if that shapes up right, you could have a good situation. Okay? All right. So, just a couple little things like that. Very interesting, some little tidbits. Trying to see what else we have moving on. Let's take a look at the commodities out there. Gold, GLD down slightly on the day. This is beginning to make a little bit of a bearish consolidation right below these moving averages here. That's bearish. I think there's more downside in gold coming next week, so be ready for that. Silver, same thing. Silver, really nice bearish pattern here that fell down, and now you're consolidating on top of this support, but I actually think there's more downside in silver in the not too distant future as well. So be ready for that. Oil. What's going on with oil? Oil continues to hammer into this resistance. See this little pivot top right here? That's what you opened at yesterday and you sold off. You're pushing back towards there. Again, anything happens with Russia, oil could blast up. If nothing happens, I do think oil is short-term overbought right now and due for a pullback. So would I be shorting oil? No, because again, with that Russian situation, I'm not waking up Monday morning to, just in case something did happen, to a major gap up in oil. So it's just one of those you sit on the sidelines. You got to recognize it's at resistance here, but not something that risk-reward wise is a smart move, in my opinion at least. All right, other stocks that reported earnings, guys. American Express down $2 about today. They reported earnings yesterday after the bell. Not pretty. We talked about IBM. We talked about Google. This morning, Goldman Sachs reported earnings. Earnings were pretty solid there, although the stock has sold off from its highs, but it's still up $1.30 on the day. Morgan Stanley also up about $1.10. Really nice move on Morgan Stanley today on earnings. And we also saw earnings from DuPont. DuPont earnings, they missed on top and bottom line, and ultimately that stock is down a little bit today as well. All right, we saw GE report earnings as well. That stock is having a nice break higher, although I have to say one thing you should pay attention to on the GE chart is that this is a longer-term bearish pattern. All right, so you have this bigger down move. So even if this goes up a little bit more here, and again, I think it maybe could go up as high as this area here, ultimately this pattern probably plays out to the downside, which is too bad for GE because I like the company, but again, you just got to follow the charts and read what they say. So by no means is it a short yet. I would say if it gets up here, you look to short that. You also have a little bit of a gap fill right up there as well, just if I put that trend line in. So I would say if it in the next few days rallies up into this range, let's call it the 2720 level, that's where I start to get a little bit on the more bearish side and for a potential short on GE. And then when it finally breaks the 200 down here and confirms, that's really where this thing breaks down big time. Probably your next spot would be down here for a bounce in the short term. Okay? Anything else I want to point out? I think that's about it, folks. And again, holiday mode, let's just go back to the SPY here. And if we flip back to the SPY intraday 10-minute chart, and there we go. You can see the markets are in float mode. This is classic holiday session right now. A little bit of an up move, sideways consolidation. And again, I think the markets could inch a little bit higher at some point today, but I think towards the end of the day, since today's a full trading day, maybe last 30 minutes, you might see a little bit of profit taking, bringing the markets back towards the flat line. Yesterday, to our members, I told everyone it would be probably around the flat line today with a little profit taking late in the day, and I still think that's basically what's going to happen. All right, so that's what I would expect. And again, next week, assuming nothing crazy happens and catastrophic over the weekend, look for a little bit more upside before we start looking for downside again in this market. Have a great afternoon, great evening, guys. Have a happy holiday, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.